Hello guys, welcome back. There is a message that I received from one of our dear listeners. This brother of ours, he is saying that he is from Zim and he is currently looking for any kind of work. He has his own construction company, and he said that he wants to tell me his own story, how he got involved in all of these things. His message reads like this. Hello my brother, I was born in Plumtree. I am a Ndebele speaking man, but my parents were from Malawi originally. So when they came to Zim, we grew up in an area that is called Escalation. My father worked on a farm, but not for a very long time, because my father was that man who didn't want to work for anyone. He wanted to become his own man. And he was a man who knew how to make money. It was in his fingers to make money. He had that kind of a gift. Then my father started working as someone who was digging up wells, those drinking wells that can be found in the villages. But they used to dig up these wells manually, not using machines, those ones that they use when drilling boreholes. When he was there, that was when he met this other certain man. We only knew this man by the name Umalume Ubanda. This man used to give a lot of people chance to be lucky, because there were a lot of men that were going to dig up gold in the mines at that time. So my father kept on telling my mom that he also wanted to go and join up with those men that were going into the mines so that they can dig up the gold, because a lot of people at that time were buying cars and things like that after they had came back from the mines. So my father wanted to test out his luck. One day he came from the beer hall, which he used to go and drink his beer a lot. When he came back, he had his other friend and they were drinking their beer. That was when they told my mom that they were about to go on this journey to go and dig up for gold. But my father then spoke with my mom and said that before he goes, there was this other man, Umalume Ubanda, whom he wanted to bring to our house so that he can perform some rituals, so that when my father goes out there into the mines to dig up for gold, no danger can fall on his life and he can be kept safe and he can make a lot of money. So my mom agreed and Ubanda came. Then he did all the rituals and prayed for my father, even though he was a traditional healer. My father was then given his lucky charm oil and he started being a zamazama. They would sneak up into the mines and dig up for gold. As for my father, I don't know what exactly happened or what were his rules after he was given that lucky charm oil that was inside a small bottle. And when he was given that lucky charm, he went to those mines to work as an illegal miner, but he never made any money that was tangible as an illegal miner. He just came back home with nothing. My father worked a lot until he started coughing. He would cough so bad. Then my mom decided to take my father to the hospital. After my mom had gone with my father to the hospital, my father was diagnosed with TB and he felt very sick. That was when he stopped going to the mines to illegally dig for the gold. Then in a short period of time, my father passed away, but my father passed away under strange circumstances, and he passed away in a very painful way. His tonsils were so swollen that when feeding him, my mother used to put food in his mouth. Then my mom, after she had placed some food in my father's mouth, then she will force it down his throat using a toothbrush. It was really painful to watch, because when this thing will be happening, my father would cry. As a man who had lost much of his strength, he could no longer fight anymore because he was starving. So he would just cry. You would just see that tears would be flowing down his face and he had no energy to fight back. My mom would forcefully feed my father using a toothbrush, but it was a painful thing. Then when my father got so sick, then my mom, she ran out of options. That was when she decided to call that man Banda. So Banda used to come over to our house so that he can give my sick father some herbs. This Banda, what he used to do is that he would take that coarse salt then you would feel that coarse salt in my father's mouth. Then you will start to twist and turn that toothbrush inside my father's mouth, rubbing the salt on his swollen tonsils. But my father would just cough and cough until in the end you will be coughing blood. The night that my father died, we could not even afford to call an ambulance when my father started to cough a lot of blood. So we had to wait for the police after my mother had told us that our father had passed away. The police came, but until my father's body was placed at the back of the police, what happened on that night, my brother, it was truly terrifying, because we kept on hearing things that were speaking in the walls of the house that we were staying in at that time. This thing was so strange because we could actually hear people that were talking as if those people, they were inside the walls of that house that we used to stay in. When my father's body was then lifted from the bed, one of the police officers said that he had seen a snake, but this snake, they tried looking for it, but they never saw that snake. So we used to stay in a 2-bedroomed house. My father passed away whilst he was sleeping on the bed. When my father passed away, me and my siblings, we were left in that room that was used as a bedroom by our parents, whilst my mom had accompanied those 2 police officers that were carrying a metallic coffin, because back in those days, if someone would die at home, the police will come with this other metallic coffin. Then they will place the dead body in that metallic coffin so that they can take the coffin to the mortuary. So when the police officers tried to look for that snake, when they didn't see it, they went outside carrying my father's dead body. When I was left alone with my siblings, that was when Banda came rushing back into the bedroom as if he had forgotten something. Then he rushed over to this other corner in our house and he picked up a snake and he quickly threw it in a plastic bag. After Banda had picked up that snake and walked out of the bedroom, I heard a very small voice that was speaking as if it was inside the walls. The voice said, "Inyoka laying yeka Banda," meaning to say this snake belongs to Banda. My father was buried and my mother got married to this man, this same Banda. But I do not blame my mother, because I think that maybe she was given some love potion, because soon after the burial of our father, Banda used to visit us a lot, and whenever he would come to visit my mom, he'll be having a lot of groceries. But they didn't stay very long whilst they were married, because this same Banda, he was chased out of the area where we were staying at that time, for he was accused of selling charms that were so poisonous, and these charms, they were taken from a crocodile, and people were dying a lot from this poison that Banda used to sell to people. A lot of people that come from Zim, they know this charm. It is that charm that they take from the crocodile's brain and they put it in your beer, and the poison will kill you instantly. This used to happen a lot whilst we were growing up in Zim. In the early 90s, a lot of people would go to the drinking beer halls and they will never come back. A lot of people from Zim, they know this poison that they take from the crocodile's brain. So this man Banda was found to be selling this poison. After he was confronted, he then ran away. So we grew up without any incidents happening. When my mother passed away, she had said to me, "Please, my son, never beat up your wife or consult with any witch doctor." But I never understood why my mom had made me to promise her that I will never beat up the wife that I was going to get married to, or to consult with those bad witch doctors. I never understood until I was a fully grown man. When I had my wife and kids, I started to work for this other man. This was in Blawayo now. This man, he had a taxi. So this taxi, it used to come and collect some groceries in Messina. Then when his businesses got bigger, we started going as far as Johannesburg. But as time went on, The man introduced me to witch doctors against my mother's wish. Before I started visiting witch doctors, I used to have a lot of dreams of me and my mother. My mother would be taking me to a place that was so beautiful, and the place would be full of green trees and beautiful things like that. But when I was given the herbs by that man that I was working for, so that I can wash my face, we used to wash our faces if we would see that just ahead there was a roadblock, or if we were approaching a toll gate. Like we used to carry a lot of heavy stuff, overloads, so we didn't want the police to bother us a lot. And the moment that I started using those herbs that were given to me by my boss, those dreams of my mother, they disappeared completely, and I never saw my mom in my dreams ever again. And now so many years has gone by. The thing that I have noticed with these Lucky Charms herbs is that you start very easy. And when you start with these Lucky Charm herbs, you will be so innocent because you will be wanting to solve a very simple problem. Like my boss, he only wanted to solve that problem of us having a lot of overloading, and he didn't want the police to bother us. So the herbs that he gave us made the police to be weak to stop the car that we were driving. But my brother, the more that you start looking for these herbs, you end up having those herbs to harm other people. Like me, when I got these charms somewhere around 2008, 2009, I went to this other witch doctor. I had started my own side hustle that was not known by my boss. What I'll do is that there were some women there in Bulawayo who had their flea markets. They used to buy the clothes in Messina, then they will sell it in Bulawayo. Then they started giving me the money so that when I'll be in Messina, I'll buy the stock for them. Then when I am in Bulawayo, they will give me my money and I will give them their stock. So the type of clothing that these women used to send me to buy in Musina, it used to cost a lot. Like at the border, when you are paying for the customs, it used to pay a lot. So I saw that I was just making a loss and not profiting in any way. I then visited this other witch doctor that was there in Bulawayo. He was quite a powerful traditional healer. If you would go to consult with him, he would give you a head of a vulture so that you can dream and see everything that will happen in the future. Some days, my brother, I would actually park by the side of the road because I'll just have a dream whilst I'll be driving like 50 kilometers from the place where I will be. There will be a heavy roadblock. So what I'll do is that I'll just park and sleep in that taxi until the dreams will come back. Then I'll see that the police will be returning back to the police station. That was when I'll start driving again. So those are the charms that I went and I started getting. And those were not the only charms that I got, because after we had been robbed at gunpoint, this was in Joburg, and then when we went back to Bulawayo, we were given charms to protect ourselves against those armed robbers. I then started seeking for more charms, like the one that I was given that would kill our livestock if my wife cheated on me, since I am a man who was always on the road. So whenever my wife, like if she would cheat on me, then maybe a calf will die and I will know that my wife would have cheated on me, until I stopped working as Umalaija. Then, my brother, one of my charms transformed itself and it became real juju that want the blood of my son. This is the situation that I am facing right now. One of my lucky charms transformed itself and it became like a creature that is demanding the blood of my son. My son now is 15 years old, but anytime he can die. And this thing, whenever I think about it, it makes me so sad that I ended up doing that same thing that my mother had told me not to do. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me. Please let us talk about this issue in the comment section.